Back to our special coverage of Hurricane Milton. I'm Tom Yamas, back live with you guys now. It's incredible. We are in the path of Milton. Milton has made landfall just south of us in Siesta Key, but the eye is over Sarasota right now. And if you look up, it looks like a calm night, and that's why people in their trucks have started to come out here. They're doing donuts. In some cases, they're racing each other. This is incredibly dangerous, but they don't care because they know right now that the police aren't out, because when the conditions are dangerous, as they were maybe about 20, 30 minutes ago before the eye passed over us, the police aren't going to be out here because it's too dangerous for them. So people are coming out now. They're acting pretty reckless. They're driving pretty reckless, but it's all part of the game here for people who don't really care that the hurricane's about to hit. Here's the flip side, which they may not know. After the eye passes, on the backside of that storm are the strongest winds of this hurricane. We're still maybe 20 to 30 minutes from that point. But if you were to walk out in Sarasota right now, you wouldn't even know that you were in the eye of a hurricane. There's no rain. There's no wind. It is a weather phenomenon that I've experienced before covering hurricanes. But when you think about the size and the force of Hurricane Milton, and you see there's really nothing happening right now in the eye of the storm, it's pretty incredible. Jesse Kirsch, my colleague, is also reporting from Sarasota. He's maybe about 100 yards from where I am, up on the fourth floor of a parking garage where we've been broadcasting from when it was a little more dangerous. Jesse, it's pretty incredible that right now there's really literally nothing going on in Sarasota except the eye of a massive hurricane passing over us.
Yeah, and Tom, I could hear the engines revving when you were talking about people in the streets. And just to emphasize what you were talking about right there, we've had full palms ripped from these tree limbs, and right now they're barely moving. I mean, look at this, right? And we're just blocks from shore along Sarasota Bay, and this is the scene. But to underscore what you were just saying, it's a false sense of security. We've had some wind gusts, a couple pretty gnarly ones, but nothing too sustained in that space. And actually, I'm going to have our photographer, David, zoom in. You might be able to tell there are people driving over the causeway toward the barrier islands right now, which is unfathomable to me. We know that police are not on the streets anymore. And again, this is a false sense of security because we are expecting the worst of what we're going to get here on the backside. And that's not just winds, Tom, right? We're talking about up to 13 feet of storm surge potentially. And we're just blocks from the bay right now. And we've been out on the barrier island around here for the last couple of days, and there was waist-high water line marks on buildings that were hit by Helene less than 2 weeks ago. And we were expecting ahead of this storm, possibly double that storm surge. And we're still looking at the storm surge being well over my head. And the idea that people are heading that way to me right now is eye-popping. But yeah, just again, Tom, total quiet. I don't even think it's misting at this point. I don't know if you're feeling it from where you are, but from where I am, it doesn't even look like there's any rain falling. And if we're quiet, you know, I can hear people from a couple blocks away. I think I just heard a door being closed along a hotel nearby. I mean, that's how quiet it is out here right now.
Yeah, we're outside a hotel, and people at the hotel have obviously gathered outside the lobby to kind of see what is happening. It's one of the most dangerous parts of the storm because people come out during the eye when it's calm, and then they stay here, and then suddenly the winds pick up. But again, you can't stop the people from coming out, right? And they're not going to stop them from coming out because you don't want any kind of confrontation.
In Tampa, Florida, where we continue with our live coverage of Hurricane Milton. And the hurricane, I can tell you, is flexing its strongest muscles right now over the city of Tampa. The winds at hurricane strength. You can see the trees bending over, the rain coming down, torrential rain coming down. We've had at least a half a foot at this point. That could be as much as a foot. We've gotten flash flooding warnings, high wind warnings being told in this area. People are being told by the governor and other emergency officials to shelter in place. But here is the remarkable thing about this hurricane. We've just had landfall. The landfall. I'm waiting for control room is speaking with me. Where was landfall? Is it over Sarasota? We were expecting the eye to go over Sarasota. Siesta Key in Sarasota County has landfall for Hurricane Milton. So this is really the worst of it. In that area, they could get the worst storm surge to the south of there as well. We have Bill Karins right now with us to update us on the path of the storm and what we're seeing. Bill?
All right, Stephanie. So, yes, we have had confirmation of that landfall near Siesta Key. That was expected as we've gone throughout this storm. Another major hurricane, 120 miles per hour, making landfall on the heels of Helene, obviously. And, of course, in this region of the country, we had Irma a couple of years back. We've had Ian. There's been numerous storms. This one, it went right over the top, and it's making landfall near Sarasota. So the worst of the storm surge is coming in now. It is rushing in. Near Walker Creek, I just saw a report of a river gauge there that it's up 10 feet. Now, we know in Naples we've had a storm surge of at least 5 feet, so that kind of makes sense. So Naples, we're at 5 feet, and right near landfall, we have a storm surge of 10 feet. So you can kind of do the math in between here. Venice is likely probably around 8 feet, and it hasn't stopped yet. The water is still going to go in with this landfall. We still have this onshore flow on the backside here. It will slowly recede probably after about 10 p.m. or midnight. But the highest water is now, the most destruction is being done now by that storm surge. To the north of landfall, which is Bradenton, all of Tampa Bay, it's a whole different issue. We've got torrential rain. They're now saying from the National Weather Service, the Weather Prediction Center, that catastrophic rainfall rates are going to be over the next 4 to 6 hours. We're getting rainfall of 2 to 3 inches an hour, and they say that could last 4 to 6 hours. You do some quick math, if you're getting 3 inches an hour over 4 hours, that's up to 12 inches of rain, a foot of rain in the next 3 hours in this area in here, which is from St. Petersburg up to Tampa and then along I-4. And this should extend here through Lakeland and towards Orlando later on tonight. So just because Tampa Bay got lucky and did not get that horrific possible storm surge like they are from Sarasota southwards, the rainfall and the wind is causing a lot of issues. So here's the latest with the surge. The water right now in Naples, we're at 4.5, so this is still ticking up. We have not peaked yet. Fort Myers is at 3.6 feet, and this is water, from above where it should be. So in other words, we're still at low tide. We're still coming towards high tide. So even though the surge is 5 feet, the water level is really 4.6 because we haven't hit that peak high tide yet. So that's why the numbers get a little crazy. But as far as no issues at all here with the storm surge in the Bay. So we're already seeing the storm surge. And the other thing is just the winds, Stephanie. We continue to watch that. The strongest and the worst of it is right over Tampa now. We did have a report in the Tampa area of a 96 mile per hour wind gust. That was the strongest that we've had yet. And that's why the power in the barrages are starting to crank up quickly.